welcome into the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us this afternoon here on the rundown. We're working to get on the program today. Steelers great, Clemson Ring of Honor winner. Of course, all-decade player in the NFL, Levon Kirkland. He's going to join us here on the show as we get connected with him. And we're going to talk about the playoffs a little bit there. And we're going to get into some other things today here on the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is, of course, Rob Sanders. And we're working to get that, get Levon on the show with us today. As I get my trusty intern here to give him a call here. And then get him on the phone and we'll get him into the show. Thanks for checking us out today. And then dial the rest of it there, buddy. As we get moving here on a Friday, it's great to get the weekend underway. So sad news to report at the beginning of the show, though, of course, with Hank Aaron passing away. I remember and I tell you what, man, we're going to get about the stuff with Hank Aaron in a moment, but we're going to have Hank Aaron on the show. Not Hank Aaron, Levon Kirkland on the show. All right, so here we go. And then, I think we're good. Are we good to go?
He said he didn't know who I am.
Okay.
I didn't want to know.
All right, we'll get to him in a minute. Actually, we'll try it right now. We'll head out to the phones. Levon, what's up, man? Hello, Levon. As we'll work on that. Okay. All right, so we're having some issues with our technical stuff today, and that's fine. We'll try to get Levon Kirkland on the show as we roll along here on the rundown this afternoon here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Hi to Brandon. Hi to Blake watching online. You can do that as well. But I'm going to start with Hank Aaron today. You know, growing up, I didn't have the opportunity to see Hank Aaron play in person because obviously he quit playing when by the time I was born. But watching his career afterwards, and you realize how great of a player Hank Aaron was, man, just sad today. And I'm such a Braves fan that the one big thing that I remember is Hank Aaron being the home run king and being upset with Barry Bonds. That was my big thing. I was really upset with Barry Bonds because of passing home run Henry. Yeah. Remember the powder blue things with that. And then there we go from there. Just a sad day if you're a Braves fan. All right, we're going to go out to the phones and welcome in Teddy Hefner as he joins us here. Teddy, what's up, brother?
Man, how are you doing? I just wanted to let everybody know to stay the heck away from I-26 East. And there's a car that is stalled in the left-hand lane, and it's stalled where it can't get off the road. So it's got the entire left lane blocked, and it's got traffic backed all the way past exit 97, which is my exit, of course. And traffic from there to people trying to get other alternate routes. It's all over the place. So I'm just trying to do a public service.
Well, there you go. I mean, Teddy, you've been a reporter forever. Everything from NASCAR to now you're doing traffic reports, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing traffic. I'm like Captain Telegram. I'm doing except I'm not making any money from it. But it's a mess on this side of town, Irmo and all the way out to Valentine. And it's all because of one car, and it's there, you know, where they've got the construction, so there's nowhere for that car to go. So I don't know what the heck they're going to do to get that car out of the way.
They got to figure that out. Hey, while I've got you here, you had on your show this morning a an interview that I'm going to have posted up on my blog page here shortly with Ellis Johnson. A lights out interview, man. I mean, you guys went into some stuff there with the former Gamecock defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Ellis got kind of fired up. He was. I got to talking about. I just asked him about. I got into the Tennessee stuff, and that kind of extrapolated into some other things. And I basically asked him if he ran into cheating when he was on the road. I didn't want him to name any coaches or anything, and he said it's more boosters than anything else. But he said he's had to tell boosters before that hey, I got nothing to do with that. I don't want anything to do with that. I value my job too much. I'm not doing anything like that. And he did say that there were some coaches that had, shall we say, shady reputations. But he was he's a little concerned about college athletics right now with the NIL coming up. He's just not sure how you're going to be able to control that. It just opens up such a can of worms, and now you're getting Cory Booker and the federal government wanting to get involved as well. I mean, do we get to the point where we just pay players? And he says, well, do you pay everybody, or do you just pay football players? Do you just pay the people that make money? Only football makes money, and some basketball programs make money. So, you get in it's a tough situation. Now you have the people. A lot of people don't know what is in a tuition. You are in a grant and aid. Besides tuition, you do have a full cost of scholarship now, and for South Carolina players, that's like $550 a month. If you're on half scholarship, you get half of that, et cetera, et cetera. So there's some money involved there, but he's very concerned about the future of college athletics, and it was, he got pretty fired up.
Well, of course, we'll have that interview up on the blog page later on at foxsportsradio1400.com, as Teddy is our independent contractor for the traffic reporting this afternoon. I appreciate the update.
If you're headed that way, just don't. I mean, it is a mess no matter which direction you're going, because people are trying to get off the interstate and get on side roads, and of course that's bottled up all the side roads. And I'm trying to get home with some hot barbecue from Little Pigs, and I don't know if it's going to be hot by the time I get home.
Hey, can I ask you one more question since you're sitting in traffic? Do you mind if I ask you one more question?
I hope it's about Hank Aaron.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about, because I know that you grew up in that era where you actually got to see Hank Aaron play. And man,
not only I met Hank Aaron several times.
You show off.
I worked at the newspaper, and we used to get complimentary tickets, so that we would go. Me and my friend Joe Gentleman, my brother Bobby, we would go several weekends, especially before I was married. We'd go several weekends during the summer, and of course I'd have a press pass too. So after the game, I'd say, "I'll see y'all later." And I'd go down into the locker room. Sometimes I would get information for stories or for a column or something. Well, not really a column, a notes piece. And I had the opportunity to meet Aaron a couple times. Actually, the first time I met Hank Aaron in 1970, the Braves played an exhibition game in Greenwood against their Class A affiliate. And right. I drove down for that, and he did just a little press thing afterwards. So I don't know if you really call that meet him or not. But Hank Aaron was boy, he was my favorite player growing up. And he was my favorite player in Milwaukee. I tell people I'm a Braves fan, and they just assume you're an Atlanta Braves fan. I became a Braves fan, and people that listen to Talking Sports know this. I became a Braves fan when they were in Milwaukee. I can tell you the 57 Braves lineup. The early 60 Braves, and of course I can tell you the 66 Braves lineup the first year they were in Atlanta. But Aaron was just a marvelous player, just a great player. I saw him play a lot, Rob.
I heard I want to say it was Willie Mays had this story that the dumbest thing you can do as a pitcher is try to throw a fastball to Hank Aaron, because you couldn't hide it, and he was going to hit it a long way.
Yeah, Joe Adcock said trying to sneak a fastball by Hank Aaron is like trying to sneak the sunrise by a rooster. Speaking of Willie Mays, do you know that $50 kept Hank Aaron and Willie Mays from being in the same outfield? The Braves offered $50 more a month to Aaron than the Giants did. So he signed with the Braves instead of the Giants. Could you imagine Aaron and Mays in the same outfield? That would have been fun.
Yeah, and imagine them batting back to back. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine
that
that at all. And it's just I grew up respecting Hank Aaron and what he had done, and it's just wow. I read that this morning and kind of chokes you up a little bit. It's just sad. I know that everyone has to pass away, but Hank Aaron was one of those guys that's like, oh, Hank Aaron can't die. Come on. And then you see that, you don't believe it,
You think of him as almost immortal, and we've lost so many in the last year or so. So many great players, so many Hall of Famers. Don Sutton just recently as well, but Hank Aaron, the Hall of Fame has gotten to be the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Very Good, and there's two ways of looking at that. Maybe you want to be more inclusive, while some people will want to be more exclusive. Hank Aaron would be in your Hall of Fame if there were just 20 people in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
just a great player. If you took the and you might check my math here, but if you took the 755 home runs away from Hank Aaron, he would still have over 3,000 hits.
Yeah, and he's still the all-time leader in RBIs. So
yep, the all-time leader in RBIs. You're absolutely correct. That's pretty impressive.
That's very impressive. I want to talk baseball with you one day, and we can argue about whether relief pitchers should be in the Hall of Fame, because I say they shouldn't be. I don't know if you want to take that side with me or not, but we can definitely have that conversation.
Sure. I tell you what, there's those closers in the ninth inning are very, very important. But you make a great point. If you look at statistics of closers, even the bad ones have pretty good save ratios.
Yeah, we need to have that conversation one day. I'll get Coach Medlin to come in with us, and all three of us will just we'll have great baseball talk. It'll be awesome.
That'd be fun. Tim's always great to talk baseball with.
All right, Teddy. Hey, I appreciate your update out there, buddy. Thank you so much.
Hey, tell Mr. Kirkland I said hello. He was a hell of a player.
Yeah, I'm going to have him on here in just a little bit. But, all-decade player in the 90s, man. And, outstanding player. Get his thoughts on the playoffs. Hey, thanks for checking us out, Teddy. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Thanks.
All right, there you go. Teddy Hefner on 9 to noon every day. As we work to get Levon Kirkland on, live radio is awesome. Because when I came in, I was expecting to talk about the playoffs. We're still going to talk about the playoffs. I knew I wanted to talk about Hank Aaron. If I'm going to talk about Hank Aaron, it's great to have Teddy Hefner to talk with Hank Aaron about. Teddy's got baseball stories for eons. And, if I remember correctly, of course, he came down and played in Capital City Stadium probably in the 50s at some point, if I remember right. I don't remember all of that. But Hank Aaron is outstanding. Outstanding. Let's get out to the phones real quick here. And welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rob. It's Ray. How are you doing?
Hey, Ray. What's up, buddy?
Well, good to hear from Teddy there, and definitely a sobering day hearing about Hammer and Hank. I mean, I grew up with him as well. I'm not quite as old as Teddy, but I was 10 years old when he hit that home run against the Dodgers to eclipse the record, which was unbelievable. But
the crowd running behind him and all that, and the police chasing everybody, and he's wondering if it's people that, because he gotten death threats and all of that about breaking Babe Ruth's record, and he's wondering if these people are going to try to kill me. I mean, he's got all of that going through his head. Man, that was just a great, great scene. I may post that later on the blog page. That's just outstanding. But go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, well, anyway, before I get to it, we'll talk about Tennessee football. But Rob, you're right. I can still picture those two guys coming up to him, patting him on the shoulder as he was rounding second base, going to third.
Yeah,
and it was unreal looking. But what a great time in sports there. But anyway, getting to talk about Tennessee. I don't know, earlier this week, Jeremy Pruitt, got fired and everything. But you know how I don't care if you're a sports organization, university, politics, or whatever, messaging is very important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and where I'm getting at, there was that press conference when the chancellor, she came on, and I mean, boy, she sounded like a prosecuting attorney. She was giving Jeremy Pruitt the first and second, third degree and condemnation and all this, and she was basically saying, "Bud, you're not getting a cent from me as if it's up to me as far as a buyout." And right. I mean, she was harsh. Then here comes Philip Fulmer, he's like from Nile G Shucks Club, and he's like, well, Jeremy, he did a lot for Tennessee. He was a good guy. He did a lot for us in recruiting. And I mean, I just wish there would have been a split screen and you could have seen the face of the chancellor, because isn't recruiting allegations one of the things they're kind of talking about that happened?
Yeah.
I thought, I was thinking, good lad, you're talking about not having your messaging right. I thought that was I thought it was comical at best.
Yeah, man, you're right about that. But I've got some comments on Tennessee later on that we'll talk about. But hey, thanks for joining us on the show today, buddy.
Yeah, have a nice weekend. Bye.
Thank you, sir. All right. One more call here. Out to the phones we go. Welcome into the rundown.
Good afternoon, Rob. It's Bobby and Casey.
Hey, Bobby, how are you, buddy?
Okay, I sent you a tweet from Jimmy Hines, and you see the 3 coaches that are in the running for Tennessee, right?
I haven't checked my Twitter because I've been battling things here, but I will definitely check it out from Jimmy Hines. I'll read it to you right now.
Yeah.
SMU coach Sonny Dykes, Buffalo coach Lance Leipold, and Clemson offensive coordinator Tony Elliott.
Yep.
There you go.
That's interesting. Would he and like Brent Venables lead the safety and all the winning and championships at Clemson to go and essentially to use a Colin Cowherd term, because he comes on your net on this station, a dumpster fire like Tennessee.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting stuff. Hey, Bobby.
If Tony Elliott would say bye-bye to Dabo and Clemson and go into that dumpster fire, maybe last a year or two and then have to go somewhere else.
I don't think Tony Elliott's going to Tennessee.
I don't think he would either.
I don't know Coach Elliott like that, but I do know that Coach Elliott is surrounded by great coaches, and trust me, I don't think that's where you want to go right now for your first head coaching job. To go to a complete rebuild, that's not going to work. Yeah,
and also about the Hank Aaron death, the name of the pitcher that caught the 715 home run was the Dodgers' Tom House in the bullpen at Atlanta Fuller County Stadium. I watched that. Yeah, there was a thing in Miami called Monday Night Baseball on ABC, and they had that whole home run chase for since I'm 57, and I'm proud to say, because I saw all that home run chase live, because they pretty much had articles in the Miami Herald the next morning, and also on Monday night. Actually, all the programming during that time on ABC, the prime time sitcoms, they cut in for that chase. And I saw that live, and I think I just sent you a little clip of that on your Twitter feed of him hitting that one.
Yeah, well,
but
I appreciate that.
I was 10 in April of 1974, so I remember that vividly, and I'm proud to say I'm 57 because he passed away today, and he was a great humanitarian and a great baseball player. I love him, Johnny Bench, and Roberto Clemente are pretty much my 3 main men from the 70s. Yeah. And unfortunately, I never saw the 3 of them play live, though. I've driven by Atlanta Fulton County Stadium a few times going through Atlanta at a young age before they demolished it. I wish I would have seen a game there, either the Braves or Falcons, but couldn't do it. But I saw a lot on TV because I'm at the right age.
You're right about that, man.
From that, what they call the launching pad. That's what Teddy referred to it as on earlier, either on your clip now or on his 3-hour show, the launching pad.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Take care, Rob. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, we're gonna work to get Levon Kirkland on the show as we go to break here on the rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. I like the majority of South Carolina's class. I think that Beamer did a good job and in putting together a staff, especially with everybody leaving like they did. That was pretty cool. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Rob Sanders, your host. Still working on getting Levon Kirkland on the show. He's supposed to be joining us here in just a second. And we're going to work on doing that right now. Dial him up for me there, friend. If you have calls that you would like to get into, you need to dial 1 first. As we work to get Levon Kirkland on the program. He's supposed to join with us to talk with us a little bit about the playoffs. And I tell you what, it's going to be a great weekend all for the NFL. So we're going to get with Levon here probably after the 3:30 break here as we get set up on the rundown. That's all right. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get all the technical stuff fixed. We'll take a break now, and we will come back here on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 as we bring Levon Kirkland into the mix. The technical difficulties today with our phone system is just silly. So we're working on getting that fixed up now. And we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have on the former Steelers and Clemson great right here on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I don't know if it's going to work out or not. I don't like the I don't think Tony Elliott's going to go there. And I think that would be insane in my opinion. So we'll ask Levon about that. He's coached all over the place. We'll see what happens. Beamer's the same way, man. He should get time. You're right about that, Tom. Go with that. That's true. All right, let's get on. Let's see. All right, out to the phones we go. We welcome in former Clemson linebacker and Steeler linebacker, Mr. Levon Kirkland. Levon, what's going on, man? How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. And yourself? How are you doing?
I'm holding my own. I'm getting ready for the NFL playoffs this weekend, man. Jacked up about that, and I want to get your opinion on those two games. We had a story just break, though, about one radio show up in the Tennessee area says that one of the coaches that may be highlighted for the Tennessee job is Tony Elliott. I don't know if you've heard anything like that, but do you think that's a job that any coach should take right now with what's going on at Tennessee?
Well, I would think that Tennessee right now is going through a lot of changes, and it's not really stable. Probation is going on. I don't see where a guy like Tony Elliott would want to go into a situation like that. That's really not ideal. They haven't really been winning. They're not really significant as far as the national championship is concerned. Really, they have not been that great in the SEC. And when you go into a storm like that, you better be prepared to right a lot of wrongs. And right now, I think that that's probably not a great job for a guy who hasn't been a head coach and who's really never rebuilt a program from the ashes. So I don't really see him getting it, but, it could be an opportunity. Money talks, everything else walks. So we'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I know Tony pretty well. It seemed like he would probably wait until the right idea job comes along.
It's going to be interesting to see how that comes about. Now, I've got one other question. Of course, you've coached in college and coached in the pros. Ellis Johnson, the former Gamecock defensive coordinator, was on this morning with Teddy, and they were talking about money passing hands and stuff like that with players and stuff like that. And Coach Johnson said the biggest thing is the boosters. I mean, do you think that's a big problem around college football?
Well, I know it's been a problem definitely in the past when you think about, you go back and you think about SMU when they got the death penalty. Some boosters are a little over anxious to be a part of the program, and they want to be a part of the program any way they can. So if it's not coaching or being an administrative staff, some of them will, give a couple dollars here and there. So, yeah, I see it as an existing problem. It still probably is a problem as we talk today. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it's been set up. You're going after the best guys and you're trying to appeal to that guy. And a lot of times people will go beyond the line of scrimmage to do that. So a lot of times you do that by going through some of the boosters and going through the fans. And they feel like, in all honesty, that they're helping the program out. I don't really agree with that philosophy, but I mean, it's a rat race as far as getting those recruits and those guys that you feel like are going to help you out. And a lot of times people just go there. They go there to make sure they get the high recruit that they want. So it's not surprising that it's still going on. It's kind of a shame that it's still going on, but it's a part of football's fabric.
Yeah, and I don't know how to fix it, to be honest with you. That's a conversation for another day. But it is interesting, though, that so much of this stuff goes on, and I think it happens just about everywhere, but it's a mess. And we've got the NIL stuff coming, too, where players get paid for their likeness. Man, you probably would have loved to have had that back in your day at Clemson where, they're selling jerseys with your name on them, et cetera, right?
Yeah, that would have been nice. It would have been real nice. I think that if everybody else is going to profit off of these college football players, and as long as the schools don't have to pay out the money, I think a lot of people get confused with that they feel like the schools are paying it. It's not the schools. The young man has an opportunity, the young woman has an opportunity to make money off their likeness, and why not? I think that a lot of people want to live back in the golden days of the NCAA and, talk about amateur sports and what it means and the rah, rah, rah and the pageantry. But as you've seen, college football is becoming professional football in a lot of ways, especially with the playoffs, especially what that kind of format really generates as far as money is concerned. So, why aren't the players getting to be a part of that, getting to be involved with that? I think that I see nothing wrong with it. I really don't. And times are changing. These young student athletes are different. They're not like what we were coming up as athletes. They're fully aware of their power. And I think you'll be foolish enough to think that they're going to just stay in their place. And that's just not the case. I mean, that's not the case with all athletes anymore. There's enough information out there that they understand, and they're thinking deeper of, well, why am I not making a little bit of profit off this? If they're making millions and billions of dollars, I should be involved in that. So, like I said, I mean, it didn't happen during my time, which is okay with me. But I can see why, if you're a student athlete, man, you're excited about this, and a lot of people are going to profit from this. A lot of people are going to get their hand in the cookie jar.
We'll have to see how that works out. And we've talked about off the field stuff. Let's talk about some on the field stuff, sir. Let's go into the two matchups for this weekend. Kansas City welcoming in Buffalo. Kansas City put out today that Pat Mahomes is out of concussion protocol, so he should be good to go on Sunday. Chad Henne is now taking a breath because he doesn't have to go out there. But I joke, but yeah, exactly. But Pat Mahomes gets out there, yeah. Playing. And you agree with that? He's glad that he's not playing?
Oh, yeah, man. Second-string quarterbacks, for the most part, want to remain second-string quarterbacks because, quite honestly, it may be one of the easiest jobs in the NFL. When you think about quarterbacks, when you think about the room of the quarterback, most of the room is more of an entourage than a competitive situation. You got your starting quarterbacks, then you got a bunch of guys to come in just in case, something goes wrong. And we got to put somebody in there. But you ever notice that the professional, the NFL quarterback position is really not ever a competition. It's not. And those guys, and a lot of those NFL quarterbacks they really don't want competition. They want to be the man. And they're fine with you, when you're just the second string guy, you're no threat. But as soon as somebody comes in there and they're threatened to take their job, boy, they become the most insecure people in the whole wide world. So going back to your question, no, Henne is great with being a second string quarterback. He doesn't have any pressure. He gets to hold the clipboard and he prays to God that he doesn't have to come in that situation when you're talking about the NFC Championship.
When you say stuff like that about quarterbacks and how they get insecure or whatever, you make me want to play defense. I want to go knock a quarterback out. No wonder you love doing all that, man.
Hey, Rob, really think about it, though.
Yeah.
Think about most teams, and you have competition all over the place, right? Every position is up for grabs. There's competition. Even if you're a very good player, they're bringing in somebody to take your place at a cheaper rate. Ray Lewis, whoever it is, they're bringing in somebody.
Right.
So, but if you look at the quarterback position, it's really not that big of a competition. You got your starting guy, and you got some guy who's been rotating around the league for at least 10 years. And you're wondering, and sometimes, and don't tell me you never thought this, I didn't know he was still in the league.
Yeah.
When you see quarterback, sometimes you're like, I didn't know he was still in the league. That's amazing.
It's the NFL backup quarterbacks to me are just insane how they go from one place to the next, to the next, to the next. But, as you said, Henne's probably glad he's not playing, and so are the Kansas City Chiefs. But they're playing a red-hot Buffalo Bills team that, I mentioned this earlier this week, man. They had the last loss they had was to Arizona with the Hail Mary in the end zone. Not for that. They've won 13 straight games. I mean, this should be a really interesting game on Sunday on both sides of the ball, especially with the offense for Buffalo going against that Kansas City defense, and then Pat Mahomes, is he really cleared up and ready to go? I mean, that's kind of the big storyline there in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think that's the question. I think that's what everybody is very curious about. Will Patrick Mahomes fully be ready to play? Now, we know during this time that everybody's a little banged up. Everybody is a little sore. Everybody's not 100%. But when you're talking about concussions and you don't know really what can really happen when someone has a concussion, especially when they come back so early, they get hit or they get targeted. Will that put them deeper into the rabbit hole? So I think if you're Kansas City, especially the Kansas City fans, you're a little concerned. They haven't been playing like they were last year, and how Patrick Mahomes was throwing the ball behind his back, no look passes. They haven't been as strong as they were last year, but anytime you have him back there, he's definitely a threat. But I think it's going to be interesting because, like you said before, the Buffalo Bills are coming in with a whole lot of confidence. Josh Allen is really coming into his own. They're not the greatest running team of all time, but I think with Kansas City, you can run the ball on Kansas City. I've seen other teams do it. So I think it's going to be interesting. Buffalo is a very disciplined, tough team, and it's not going to be, I really don't see it as being a game where Kansas City is just going to run away with it. I mean, can they? Yeah, they possibly can. You never know. Is Patrick Mahomes hurt like they say he is? You don't know. But I'm telling you, this is the playoffs. And when the playoffs occur, anything could possibly happen. There's no home field advantage. There's, a lot of times the things you think are a good matchup they definitely have the advantage. Not so much in the playoff, because the one thing about it is just one game. If you can play well that one game, you have an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. Don't think the Buffalo Bills are not thinking about that. So I think this is going to be an interesting game, and I would not be surprised if Buffalo pulls off the upset.
All right. Well, with that, we go from a game with two of the youngest quarterbacks in the NFL to the old granddaddy game where we've got two of the most older quarterbacks in the NFL up in Green Bay, where Tampa Bay, a reworked Tampa Bay team, comes into Green Bay looking to make it to the Super Bowl. 3.5 points is the line there. Is this Tom Brady's swan song, or is this where Tom Brady will lead them back to the Super Bowl? I read an interesting stat the other day I'll share with you. Tom Brady has more wins over NFC teams in the playoffs than Drew Brees has in his career in the playoffs. Wrap your head around that stat for a second. He's only played in the NFC 1 year, but he's got more wins against the NFC in the playoffs than Drew Brees has in his career. That's a hell of a stat.
Well, that's very interesting. That's something I did not know. Thank you for sharing with me.
Absolutely.
That information. That's a good little nugget there. I think that this game is, if you look at the first game, Green Bay did not play as well as expected. I mean, Aaron Rodgers really didn't have a good game. He kind of missed some throws that if he would have made those throws, it might have changed the dynamic of the game, but that's just the game. There's going to be 5 or 6 plays that if was a fifth, we all be drunk. But I really feel that Green Bay is really on top of their game going into it. Now, Tampa Bay will be a tough opponent. And in a lot of ways, I want BA to get a chance to go to the Super Bowl and get an opportunity to coach in that big game. He gave me my opportunity in the NFL, so I'm rooting for him. But, boy, this Green Bay team is tough. And Aaron Rodgers is playing at an MVP level, which I really believe he will get the MVP. But you cannot count out Tom Brady and what Tom Brady brings to the table. His pedigree, his understanding of how to play in the big moments could possibly be a boost for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay has a really pretty good defense, and Todd Bowles has done a marvelous job with that defense. But I really think I see Green Bay having the edge. It won't be a big edge, but I see Green Bay having an edge. And I know Aaron Rodgers, man. Aaron Rodgers would not allow himself to play another bad game as he did before when these two teams met. So I think this is the most wonderful time of the year. Forget about Christmas. It's got to be the NFL playoffs. NFL playoffs is, I think, like the best playoffs in sports today. and I'm looking forward to it. I wish it was tomorrow. It's going to be Sunday, and it's going to be a blast to watch.
Of course, Levon Kirkland joining us here on the program, and you said, I want to see BA win it. For folks that don't know what you're talking about Bruce Arians, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Bruce Arians.
Yeah, and I mean, can you tell us a bit about your relationship with the Buccaneers head coach for folks that don't know?
Well, when he was with the Arizona Cardinals, he did something that was kind of unusual. He gave a former NFL player, and I happened to be that player. And what happened was Preston Buckner, who was a teammate of mine at Clemson and with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was their defensive line coach when he was with the Cardinals. He's still with the Cardinals today. And I've done some internships with some teams, but it's usually the summer intern and the training camp. But this time I was asked to come to the OTAs and the mini camps. So I'm like, cool, I can do that. You know, they're just like, well, we're not going to pay you. We're not going to do any of this, right? I'm like, okay. So I went up there, and I think they saw a guy who could coach, who could articulate what's going on and can share his experience with the players. So mini camps and OTAs are over with. And so I go into the summer thinking, okay, I'll go to training camp. It'll be about for 4 weeks. And then I, come back home, raise my daughter, go on with life. It's 3 days before training camp. And I'm driving with my daughter. I'm going to take her to some family friend's house until I get back from training camp. So I get a call from Bruce Arians, and he was like, "Hey, Kirk, we want to hire you for 2 years, and we want to give you an opportunity to coach. I think you'd be a tremendous coach on this level, and we want to give you a shot." And that was really the first time that I know that an NFL team, and it might have been done other places, but they developed this fellowship coaching for me. And so I spent 2 years there. It was a great experience. BA was a great coach to coach under. He really taught me a lot. I learned a lot as far as football is concerned. And it was a lot of fun. So he always had a special part of my heart by giving me that opportunity to be on the sidelines, to be a coach, to interact with other NFL players and other NFL coaches. It was a blast for me. And so, in my heart, I do want Tampa Bay to win and to give him an opportunity to play on that stage. But I think it would be also very cool that Tampa Bay is going to be playing the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. I think that'd be great.
Levon Kirkland joining us on the program. Hey, man, as always, I appreciate you joining us. And you know what? I want to come to one of your football parties, man, when you're watching some of these games, and maybe I'll learn something. Who knows?
It's a party of one. I basically like to watch the games. I watch Clemson games or college games with my brothers, but normally I usually watch the game by myself because I want to see it in a deeper way. I watch it at home because that gives me an opportunity to focus in and seeing what they do, even though sometimes watching it on TV really doesn't give you the whole picture. But I like to look at football that way. And a lot of times I look at it differently than maybe most people look at it. I look at what they do as far as scheme is concerned and what they could have done. So I try to be a deeper thinker when it comes to the game of football. But yeah, man, you can come anytime, man. I'll fry you up some wings. My wings are good. I'm telling you.
I'm sure. I just want to learn something. I'll bring the food as long as you tell me, hey, this is why the secondary's doing this or that or whatever. I might learn something. You never know.
Yeah. Well, it's a learning thing, but I mean, maybe you can teach me some stuff too, man. Maybe you can continue to teach me how to be a host on the media outlet. If you can teach me some, little finer points, man, we can do a barter system.
Well, we may be able to work that in, but we need some more classes from Teddy Hefner, who was on this morning, and he actually stopped in a bit earlier and told me to tell you that you were a heck of a player, and that means a lot coming from Teddy. So, all right, well,
Teddy, who was it again?
Yeah, Teddy Hefner. He's on in the mornings here from 9 to noon. He's watched a ton of football in his existence, and if Teddy says you're a good player, you're probably a good player.
Well,
Not that you needed that anyway, but.
No, that's really nice, man. I mean, it's always good to hear people talk about, what you did as a profession and that you did it well. So, yeah, I always take those compliments. I'm better at taking them down than I was as a player. So, yeah, tell Teddy I said thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, Levon, man. Looking forward to talking to you later on, man, as we get set for the Super Bowl.
All right, man. Sounds good. Call me anytime.
Thank you, sir. Levon Kirkland joining us on the rundown this afternoon. We appreciate him as always. I got like 5 minutes left, and we're going to do our picks. And I'm bringing in my friend, Mr. Savage College Football, sitting across from me. Follow him on Instagram. He's got all kinds of college football news from his Instagram account. Welcome into the program, sir.
Thank you for having me on, Rob. I appreciate it.
All right. So I build you up like that. We got to make sure we give some good info today. We're going to put you in the pro front again because we've got 2 games. Levon gave us his thoughts. What's your pick with Kansas City and Buffalo? I think it's like 2.5 is the line now. You got to pick against the spread. Which way are you going to go? Mahomes is playing. We know that now.
I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs on this one, Rob.
Yeah.
I just don't see them losing to the Bills, although the Bills have been very hot as of late. But the Chiefs are they're just on a whole nother level, I feel like. So I feel like they defeat the Bills by 3.
All right. So there you go. I think that's going to be the one of the better of the 2 matchups. And I hate to disappoint. And we'll get into that pick in a minute. I'm taking Kansas City as well, but I think Kansas City, it'll be close. So take Kansas City to cover. They'll win by 6 or 7. As far as the second game, of course, that involves the Green Bay Packers. As we said, they are America's team. I know that you were upset about that. I messaged you after they won their game the other night, and I said, I told you they're America's team, and
no, they're not.
You just weren't feeling it, and I don't understand.
They are not America's team.
They're America's team, sir.
No, they are not.
Yeah, they're America's team. That's just the way that it is.
No, okay. If they are America's team, then why have I heard nobody else say that the Packers are America's team except for you?
Hold on. I can help you with that. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Here, listen closely. About it, brother. You just don't choose to listen. They are America's team. So with that, I'm taking the Packers. I think they're going to win by about 12 points on Sunday.
12 points against Tom Brady?
I'll tell you what, 3 scores. We'll go 3 scores.
3 scores?
3 scores.
What?
3 scores.
Is Tom Brady chopped liver to you?
It's not an issue of that, but Tom Brady has no one beats Father Time. And there has to be a moment when you do have to bow out, and I think this is that moment. I think they're going to retire Tom Brady on Sunday.
Really?
Yep, by 3 scores. So what's your pick in this game?
I'm going to have to agree with you on who wins the game.
Right.
But I don't think that the Packers will win by 3 scores. I don't see the Buccaneers defense doing that bad.
But you agree the Packers win?
Close game, but I am hoping that the winner of the Chiefs-Bills game defeat the Packers.
Great. The Packers and the Packers and Bucks play early, and then the AFC game is the later game on Sunday. I'm going to be sitting at the house, sort of like what Levon's doing, and just watching both games. I won't tweet during the Packers game. You will not see me tweeting during the Packers game.
Are you going to be locked in?
I'll be locked in, ready to go. I mean, I love the NFL playoffs, and having Green Bay having a chance to go to the Super Bowl. It's fun when you watch the Super Bowl and your team's actually playing in the Super Bowl, because generally you're going to watch the Super Bowl anyway, and most of the time your team is not playing. If it's the Jets, you've probably never seen them in the Super Bowl. If it's certain other teams, it's probably the same way. But if your team's playing, it makes the Super Bowl a lot more fun. It really does. But I'm going to be jacked up and ready. It's going to be at Lambeau Field. It's going to be snowing. Yeah, it's going to be great.
If I may interject, I
Sure.
can't help but think that you tried to take a low shot at me because I'm a Panthers fan. And
Panthers have been to the Super Bowl.
I know, but
it wasn't a shot at you.
okay.
It was more of a shot at the Jets.
Okay, well,
mocking the Jets.
Okay, but haven't Jets fans been through enough misery?
All right, we'll just play music. All right, so coming up on Sunday, I'll be doing some crazy tweets if the Packers win at Rob Sounds Good. Someone that you should follow on Twitter is Lawton Swan. He is at Clemson Sports. Be sure to check him out. He's on from 4 to 6 today. Mr. Savage College Football, how can people find you on Instagram?
So if you go on Instagram and search up Savage College FB, you will find my Instagram page. I post college football news every day. It's a very reliable page. I have over 700 college football players following me, some of which are in the NFL right now. And yes, so we're 12.5K followers strong right now, and just hoping to get stronger. So
there you go. All right. Well, we next week we'll get back at it, and we're going to talk next week about traditions. Wait, what are you talking about? Yeah, they put out something rating the college football traditions. We'll get into that next week, and lots of other things. We'll look back at the AFC and NFC championships. First, look at the Super Bowl. We're going to have on Mike Mooneyham from the Post and Courier to talk about the Royal Rumble, working on that. So all kinds of stuff coming up in next week's show. All right. So as I said, Lawton Swan from Clemson Sports Talk is next. He is the czar of Clemson Sports. Thanks to Teddy Hefner. Thanks to Levon Kirkland. And of course, Mr. Savage College Football across from me as we wrap it up here on a Friday. Don't forget, podcast is up at 5:00. My name is Rob Sanders. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Thanks for listening to us on Fox Sports Radio 1400.